baby?
You know it, baby.
And buckwheat sprouts, and we have this whole incredible living foods movement that's changing all of our lives. And hey, that's why I don't look 65 because of him. No, quite honestly, because you see lots of vegans, vegetarians, blah, 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 and they still have a multitude of problems. And it's not to say that we can be rid of all problems, because problems are this is our stepping stone of life. This is how we're supposed to learn. But he has so many answers to help us over those stepping stones so that we don't stay stuck behind the rocks, so that we can move forward. And he's been such an incredible force in my life. I just love him to death, and I'm so grateful that he's in my life, that he's in this world for all of us. So I'm so happy that you've shown up to hear him speak. I've heard him speak, I don't know, 1,000 times, and I learn something new every single time. You can never hear or get enough of Victor as far as I'm concerned. Unfortunately, I got to leave early today because they got more plans for me, but he's here tomorrow too, and I get to spend personal time with him. So anyway, thank you all so much for coming to hear my perfect person in the world who's trained and given me so much, and all of us, Viktor Kulvinskas. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Today's topic is going to be bliss. Follow your bliss. And that is not actually that hard. It takes courage. Initially, it might be baby steps. Quite often, we come to that posture when we have suffered enough. For some, it is an incarnation of high calling, high parentage. For others, coming into a very torturous, from social perspective, environment. However, it is perfect. It is a perfect place for you to do your duty, to do your dogma, to do your dharma, to follow your bliss. Most of us are lost in the social matrix where non-intentional lies is the way, or lack of truth, or lack of knowledge. As Dr. Chopra has said, if we had enough knowledge, we would do better. However, with our early conditioning, we become addicted to a lot of postures and practices. And we change our homeostasis internally, and we become addicted to our homeostasis. Because one thing you can be sure, change for good, like for instance, you want to put on muscle, you want to take on the Karen look, it's not easy at the start. Matter of fact, you'd rather not do it. Takes a high degree of discipline and motivation. You can do the baby steps, but quite often many people end up baby stepping their way into the grave. Because all kind of excusitis along the way comes to make it that you've gone far enough, you're a little ahead of the curve. Our society at this time, on May 23rd, 2002, in science section of the New York Times, there was an article in New York Times from Harvard Medical School, a study that was quite extensive, which later on was duplicated by 2 other clinical studies published. And it brought out something very interesting about sadness, or the Standard American Diet, SAD, Standard American Diet, that it is the culprit behind all. They said they didn't want to make a commitment to 100%. Probably, they said, it is the cause of all degenerative disease. This was straight out of Harvard Medical School. That included all the psychosomatic diseases, whether you're looking at addictions or Alzheimer's disease or dementia, or you're looking at cancer or cardiovascular disease, all of it was related to the standard American diet. And the culprit was lack of enzymes. They didn't spell that out, but if you could read between the lines, it was clear. They said that everybody in America who is on the traditional diet is saturated. That means in exaggerated volumes beyond the levels of life support, saturated with incompletely metabolized proteins. And they gave a name to these proteins. They call it twisted proteins. And these twisted proteins kept the immune system in an inflammatory condition 24/7, creating a lockup and a demand on the immune system, so it was not able to deal with the normal maintenance policing action. As a result, it was continuously making every effort possible to deal with this incompletely metabolized protein. Schizophrenia was also included in the list. Let us take a look at some of the more sadder and more deprived situations and how it is related to diet on one level, but psychology on another level, and spirituality even on a more archaic level. So when I read articles many years ago in Newsweek, Time magazine, they had cover stories on the epidemic of Alzheimer's disease in this country. And the thing that they found consistent in the medical community, again, the theme permeates, was that consistently throughout all the brain lesions and autopsies that were done, they were all saturated with rubberized protein. What the hell is the difference between twisted or rubberized protein? Again, incompletely metabolized protein. Exhaustion of protein. Protein packing, as one would say. Instead of packing it into muscles as amino acids and building blocks, they were being stored away as a warehouse for exaggerated volume of intake. And on top of the list of all the culprits, if you want to reduce your IQ, drink pasteurized dairy products. It'll take you to dumbness, not of a cow. Cow is quite intelligent. It lives on grass. No, if it has access to nature, no, it'll take you that of the impact of living outside of nature. Russia, of all places, you might not expect it because of the attitude we have toward Russia, but it's one of the most advanced research places in the world in esoteric as well as naturalistic medicine. In Survival in the 21st Century, I have a section on schizophrenia. And I quote from Schizophrenia Review, an article about Moscow Psychiatric Institute. They had already at that time treated for over 50 years all forms of mental disorders, from manic to depression to panic attack, sadness. Very simply, 3 weeks on fasting with exercise, follow up with a vegan diet. Why would this be at all successful? They had practically 100% success. Well, exercise is one way of dealing with emotional crap that most people are dealing with. In the word emotion is emotion. Actually, you start having emotions when you don't have enough motion. Go on Google and Google up tapping, T-A-P-P-I-N-G. Treatment for all kind of mental disorders simply by tapping. It's distraction of the mind through any kind of motion or focus on the outside world. Because when you take the focus from yourself, like for instance, taking the focus from yourself, some of the happiest people are the ones who set themselves aside. And they go out and do charitable volunteer work. Over 100,000 organizations are there. People don't get paid to do work. Often they even get paid. They have to pay their babysitter or someone to take care of the house while they're doing the volunteer work. All kind of expenses are involved. But they have so much joy that they get from service, from getting away from themselves. Exercise is the #1 antidepressant. You go out and exercise for an hour or more, preferably. It's almost like taking the ultimate antidepressant for the rest of the day. But skip it, and things don't work out too well that particular day. Eventually, you skip it next day and the next day, and you start thinking, oh, I better get back to Prozac or something, or a cup of coffee. Coffee is the #1 antidepressant for most people. They feel so much, and I know that from personal habit. I started drinking coffee when I was, I think, 12 years old. And I drank it extensively, even to the point of addiction, 10, 15 cups a day. In spite of all of that, I managed to get through the day by being hyperactive and very externalized. And that was the whole idea, distraction from the noise that was going on internally. When you are doing the exercise, the external focus, and then fasting, quickly it flushes out all the internal CDs and DVDs, movies that you continuously play and replay about yourself. How much you hate yourself. You recall all the past memories of sad experiences of individuals who have browbeaten you, individuals who have expressed all kind of negative descriptions of you, and you kind of let it keep on replaying. And every time you replay, you basically create two entities of the same thing. When you exercise, then, or you meditate, or you dance, or you sing, or you do any kind of distraction, then you don't pay attention on the internal side of yourself. The way the human body the mind works of the human and all life forms is that the outside world has dangers, especially when it was much more natural, but even right now, go ahead and walk around the streets with your eyes closed, not paying attention. Next thing you know, you'll get hit by a car or a thief or something, or you'll fall off a curb and get hurt. Attention to the outside world is number one as far as survival of this entity. So the body makes it a priority. All the sensory data that you get that is coming in from your eyes, from your ears, from heat, like, taste, all of them giving you indications. Is this supportive of life? Is this threatening to your life? Or you have to take some sort of action. That has the number one priority. So when you have all kind of distractions, namely motion, that is where the whole mental focus is paid attention, and you don't pay to the depressive aspects of your own life. So and as a result, during that time, there is also the immune system. When you're not duplicating those CDs and DVDs of self-loathing and hate and whatever, you are cannibalizing those CDs by the action of your immune system, because they are foreign, non-nutrient supporting markers that have been created about information about the nature of the outside world that you listen. Every time information was coming in from your mother, from your father, from your priest, from your teacher, from your boss, and you hold on to that information. How do you hold on to it? It becomes a CD, a DVD, a memory imprint that is a living, organic protein compound. And unless you get rid of it through the action of the immune system, which basically takes it, grinds it up through the enzyme action, and it is digested by the macrophages, which is part of your immune system, and gotten rid of out of your system, it will circulate and it can duplicate, because if they are circulating and you are now alone and sitting around doing nothing and you're playing those tapes, they are taken upon as reality. As a result, hypothalamus, which gathers all the sensory data, part of your brain, this hypothalamus, it's located somewhere in the back, it takes that data, sensory data, and codes it and sends off to how the outside world looks like, and sends it off to the pituitary glandular system, which orchestrates your hormone system to make appropriate responses to what is going on outside. Do you need to run? Do you need to move out of the side? Or you need to pull your hands out of that boiling water that you stuck your hands by mistake? It gives you action steps. And then, when you go through ongoing cleansing and detox, that's why, like, when you're going through cleansing, I didn't understand this cleansing stuff. 40 years ago, there was hardly any information about anything. I started doing cleansing, detoxification, and I'm basically what you would call very mentally deranged individual. My psychiatrist had me classified schizophrenic with catatonic tendencies and asocial behavior. I found out about this by breaking into his office. He wouldn't tell me any of that information, so I eventually, and he was quite accurate on all of it. it took many years to get through that. By 17, I had bleeding ulcers. So for me, the search for at least some level of joy and happiness was very much a priority, to the point where I recall when I was graduating 4th class, the students in the class gave away presents to each individual. And for me, they gave a present of a little harmonica, and in it it says, "We hope that it will put some joy on your face," because I always had a sad face. So, it was, I thought it was going to be a curse that I was going to have to live the rest of my life. And most of my life I dealt with it in terms of trying to seek out what are the components that make it possible. Am I damned because according to sociological and psychological studies, that if you had not enough smiles when you were as a child, or touch, you're damned for the rest of your life to be serotonin deficient or be saddened. You got no possibility of experiencing joy. And the question is, can you make your own joy juice? Is there a biochemistry of joy or a biochemistry of bliss? And certainly there is. Whatever limitations that you might have, to the best of my knowledge, my life experiences as a child were so stressful that I zipped it up. I have no childhood memory. I had, best that I can recall from all this psychological symptomology, sexual abuse, violence. I was immersed in war, and all these other, and a dysfunctional family. Parents loved me, but they didn't know how to love. It's a learned process. It's a natural process. But, when you got generation after generation of wrong kind of behavior that is not of love origin, you're just going to have it duplicated generation after generation. So, because of all the experiences and the nature with the world, I didn't start talking till I was a teenager.